It's the middle of the summer. What is something sweet I can make? Julia.
Oh! Bon appetit.
Fruit tarts is going to be the answer to that question. And hello and welcome to my kitchen. We're making something out of this book today, Julia Child's Mastering the Art of French Cooking, the first one, the book that started it all, the book I never leave the house without. That is a lie. I have never taken it anywhere. But yeah, I'm in this situation in my life where I'm able to make 2 tarts today instead of 1. We're gonna get a little greedy over here. Firstly is gonna be one of my favorite fruits. It's in season, peaches. Tart aux pêches, a fresh peach tart. Secondly, tart aux fraises, fresh strawberry tart. And I saw her make this on her show and it looks beautiful. Fresh fruit tarts are easy to make, pretty to look at, told you, and refreshing to eat. That's exactly what I'm looking for today. How could this not be a great day? We're making fruit tarts over here. Let's get to work. We're gonna start off with our pastry dough. So we got the whiz kid here. Steven, good to see ya. And yeah, we're making a sweet pastry dough. It's called a sweet short paste. And yeah, it's got sugar in it, of course, because we're making some fruit tarts. And I only need to make enough dough for one of these tarts because I have some leftover dough from recipes of the past. It's just been hanging out in the freezer for I don't know how long, but I thawed it out and it's, you know, one tart here, another tart here. I can't tell you how many times I've made this type of dough on this show, so just quick like a bunny, let's go through it. 1 1/3 cup or 167 grams of flour, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of sugar. Lock and loaded, let's go. 8 tablespoons, 113 grams of cubed chilled butter, and 3 tablespoons of vegetable shortening. Julia and the fat. All right, let's flick the machine on for a couple pulses. Stop. 1/4 cup of chilled water, 75 mils. Stream it in, but only a little bit. See if that's enough, and we'll go from there. Locked and loaded. More. The last thing you want is an overmixed dough, so you're gonna stop pulsing very soon. We end it when it starts to form masses on top of the blade, but we don't want it to form a complete mass. I think that's good. All right, this is a final blending of fat and flour, just a little bit of a smear. Form that into a disc. Wrap it up in plastic wrap. This is gonna go into the bag with the other doughs. Have that hang out in the fridge for around an hour. We're gonna move on to bigger and brighter things, like strawberries and peaches. And we gotta roll out this dough, smack it a bit to soften it. I always gotta roll away from me. The rolling pin floured, keep the top of the dough floured, everything can stay floured. All right. This is the pan I'm baking in today. It's bottomless, look at that. Up, get that into the tart pan. There's no air gaps underneath anything and it's all pressed against the sides. Here's a cool trick. You can see that the dough is above the top of the pan here, and that's intentional. I need a little space just in case this thing shrinks up, which it has done before. No shrinkage today. That looks great. Get that into the fridge while we work on the other dough. 1/8 inch thick. Well, that's, yeah, we're great. We're great. And that's gonna fit and then some. So into the pan, around the edges to make sure there's no bubbles underneath. Rolling pin trick. And then remember, I push the dough up so that there's space above the pan in case of shrinkage. All right, I just let that hang out in the fridge for a second. I need to take a breather, sort out my thoughts. I don't think it's necessary to do a decorative pattern around the dough when that is already fairly decorative. Look at it, it's fluted. Prick the bottom of the dough with a fork in 1/2 inch intervals or whatever you think that means. Aluminum foil on top of each dough. Dry chickpeas here. It's gonna act as my pie weight. One for you, one for you. You wanna weigh down the dough so that nothing rises up and nothing shrinks. So with the strawberry tart, I need a fully cooked pastry shell. Peach tart, I need a partially cooked pastry shell. 400-degree oven. All right, let's start with 8 minutes and go from there. Here comes one, here comes the other. And remove the pie weight. Where's my fork for pricking? Needs a good pricking. Partially cooked one goes in for 3 minutes. The fully cooked one goes in for 7 to 10 minutes. In you go. Bye-bye. We need to focus on the fully cooked shell here because I got to remove it. This will work. Cool. Oh, that looks beautiful. Unmold the fully cooked one and put it on a rack for circulation so that you can avoid a soggy crust, she says. If I remove this base part, I know I'm gonna break this shell. So should I do it or shouldn't I do it? You don't want a soggy crust, man. Do it. Good job. We're moving on to the peach tart. So I have 3 peaches, I need 4. Thank you. 4 peaches, and these are the freshest ones I could find, we could find. And yeah, they are, I just want to eat them right now. But I'm going to drop them into boiling water for 10 to 15 seconds. Easy, girl. Remove said peaches, and then the skin should just peel right off. Why isn't the skin peeling off? This is not how I wanted to spend my night. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Me just trying to follow along to her method of poaching the peaches, then peeling them, and then the skin doesn't come off, so I have to resort to using one of these. I know, you hate to see it, but it had to be done. And then I couldn't pit the peaches, so I had to figure out a whole bunch of things. Cut my thumb while I was doing all that. Anyway, it got done. It was all about the destination here. I don't want to talk about the journey. Sprinkle 3 tablespoons of sugar into my partially cooked tart shell. So I'm going to take the peaches and arrange them nicely in a little pattern, starting from the outside, working our way in, like a little spiral. Nice little design going on here. In hindsight, I think I would just kept the peach skin on because I love peach skin and I don't know why I peeled it. I mean, Julia told me to, but yeah, Julia told me to. That's the story of my life. So I was supposed to start with 1/3 cup of sugar, and then I added 3 tablespoons, so remove those. So whatever is remaining in the 1/3 cup goes on top. So 2 tablespoons of dotted butter on the very top. I'm going on nearly 3 years making this show. This is not excessive, I promise you. Oven's been preheated to 375. I'm gonna bake this for 30 to 40 minutes on the middle rack. When do I know it's done? Until the fruit has colored lightly and the juices have become syrupy. So we're gonna move on to our strawberry tart. So I got a whole bunch of strawberries. I washed them, so I'm gonna have to hull these strawberries, trying to waste as little of the strawberry as possible. And these need to be completely dry. Julia so eloquently puts it, you need large, ripe, handsome strawberries. Hold your phone, please. I'm working with the strawberries, but that's the peach tart. It requires my immediate attention. Peach tart looks fantastic. I'm just gonna keep it off to the side. You'll have a look later. Okay, it is mega smoky in here. Please do not go off smoke alarm. I probably should have put a tray underneath the peach tart while it was in the oven. All that butter and sugar. Don't know what I was thinking. Please do not go off smoke alarm. So we got to do a couple things with the strawberry tart. We have to make a creme patisserie. I tried. It's a custard filling. We'll need a bowl. Me. Whoa, thank you. 1 cup of sugar, 5 egg yolks. Whisk until this mix is pale yellow and we have reached the ribbon stage.
I feel like Martha Stewart right now.
1/2 cup of flour, beat that in. Gradually pour on the boiling milk, 2 cups of it, in a thin stream of droplets. Okay, let's start with just a little, just to get the mix moving, because it is like concrete right now. There we go. Let's continue to add droplet after droplet into this. Just little droplets, you know? That's it. Cool. And then now you have the saucepan right beside you. Pour the mix into the saucepan. Yeah, genius. Get it to the stove on a moderately high heat, stirring with a wire whisk, reaching all the bottoms of the pan. 2 to 3 minutes to cook through the flour, and if it gets clumpy, just keep it moving. But don't scorch the bottom of the pan, and I can already feel it thickening up a bit. The bottom of the pan is kind of turned a bit clumpy, and yeah, damn it. Am I gonna have to redo that? Or is this salvageable? I thought the eggs were starting to cook, but the more I look at it, I think I may have dodged a bullet. It's just really thick, and it still tastes really good. I think I took it off at the nick of time. If I left it on any longer, I think we would have been eating breakfast, scrambled eggs. But no, it's all good now. Over to the liquor cabinet. I'm gonna add in some cognac. Since I have a little PTSD from the flaming souffle, I'm gonna restrain myself today. Only 2 tablespoons of cognac instead of the usual 3. 1. Why don't you go with 1 for now? Go with 1 and see how it tastes. And I think that maybe 1 tablespoon of cognac might be enough today. Ooh, that's nice. I was mistaken. Add a 2nd tablespoon. Okay, you got my attention. Oh yeah. I was hesitant about adding this much cognac, but now that I've tasted it, it adds like a fruitiness to it. It's grapes. It's great. I want to prevent a skin from forming on the top of this. She says to dot it with butter, but I'm thinking, what if I put a little milk on top? Just cover the top layer, and then when the time comes, I'll remove the milk. Well, if that doesn't work, then I'm a tool. So, small saucepan. And what do I get? It's like a little thing that I gotta make here. I need 1 cup of red currant jelly, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 2 more tablespoons of cognac. 1, 2. Boil that down. It's got to reach 228 degrees F and well past it. So this is done when the last few drops from the spoon are sticky. Sticky. Bring over a little tray of treats. I need the pastry shell, strawberries. Your moment is soon. So let's just kind of, I don't know why you're putting it on here. That's kind of stupid. You're gonna keep moving it all over the place. How are you going to be serving it? Put it on something that you're going to serve it on. So this shell is going to go onto, this is the bottom part of the tart pan, and that's how I was planning on serving it, like that. This red currant jelly thing that I just made, I need to paint the interior of the pie shell, tart shell, excuse me, with a thin coating. This is gonna give the shell a light waterproofing. Very smart, Julia. The glaze needs to set before I do anything. 5 minutes. Okay, we gotta focus on this creme patisserie for a second because it's got all this milk on top. There was no skin that formed on top. Fantastic. Okay, 1/2 inch layer of this custard onto the pastry shell. What she wants me to do is add the strawberries onto my tart first, and then I'm gonna cover them in this red currant glaze. But I dunked a strawberry into the glaze already and it looks amazing. So I think I'm gonna just do it that way. In the video I was watching, she has all the strawberries facing up. So here goes the first one in the center. She suggests starting in the center with the big ones and then working your way out with the smaller ones. I think you have space for maybe 1 more strawberry and then you're gonna have to call it. If you need to do any last minute touch-ups, now's your time. That looks incredible. Hark, the herald angel sings. So with the saucepan I was just using for the red currant glaze, I now need to make apricot glaze. Apricot. Apricot, 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 apricot. I don't care. So there was a period in my life last year when I was making a lot of this apricot glaze. And I haven't made it in quite a while since. So, you know what? It's just kind of a glazy afternoon, isn't it? In the comments, people have told me to heat up this jelly first, and it's gonna be easier to pass it through the sieve. Passing it through the sieve is gonna get those apricot skins out of there. You're gonna need around half a cup worth. And then now that can go into the saucepan with, what do you know, 2 tablespoons of sugar. We're basically doing the same thing we did with the red currant glaze, this time with apricots. I think North Americans call it apricot. Apricot is over in the UK, right? Boiling this down until the last few drops from the spoon are sticky. So do we all remember the peach tart? But there is a little bit of liquid going on in there. It might be a combination of melted butter with peach juice and sugar, whatever else is in here. I think I'm gonna take a turkey baster and try to remove some of it. Is that a good idea or a bad idea? I would be lying if I wasn't concerned about the pastry being soggy underneath those peaches. It's 100% possible. I would say it's almost a guarantee. So 1/4 cup of slivered almonds on top. That seems like too many. How about that many? Spread the apricot glaze on top. I feel like I can just do this. So I need to unmold this thing. Pressure's on. There's no pressure. Peach tart, strawberry tart. Order up! Let's go with the peach first. That's gonna be hard to beat. This one's a little on the messier side, but that's okay. What a day, what a glorious day. So I would say the single greatest attribute to the peach tart was the caramelization of that sugar all over the pastry. It is something I completely forgot about, and then I took a bite. I was like, oh yeah, I did add 2/3 cups of sugar into this thing, and you can tell. That's why it's so great. Now this crust here tastes like, here's a shout out to Canada, butter tarts. The caramelization that happens on the Canadian butter tart, if you don't know what it is, you should check it out. That's what's going on around here. Combination of peaches, which is, as I told you, one of my faves, with the almonds, which was such a nice touch. And then the glaze. I love the glaze. The only downside to this one was the amount of like peach juice, like whatever other liquids were going on in here, made the bottom crust kind of very soggy. Too many great things going on in here to really worry about it, but it happened. Let's talk about this one right here, because it's just as good. Strawberry custard combo is incredible. The custard too, adding the cognac in there is like a secret weapon. It like just changed it into something, it amplified it. This one was a different eating experience. You're expected to eat this one cold. So yeah, there wasn't like the caramelization on the crust, and that's okay. Didn't need it because the crust was flaky and it was nice. When I cut a slice open, I was hoping that it would hold its shape, and it just spilt all over the place. I don't know why that happened actually. I'm gonna say this is a tie game. I love both of these equally. Point off for the soggy crust, point off for spilling all over the place when I cut a slice. Besides that, I see no flaws. And I need to get some exercise and a balanced diet for the rest of the month. This was Jamie and Julia. Bon appetit. Au revoir.